So this is kind of our supposed to be our team meeting and team planning, but there's been so much, so many people need their 2023 plan, especially with the market shifting. We decided to open it up and make it a modern agent blueprint. And we have, first, before we get started with the actual business plan, I just wanted to let everyone know that we've kind of put our money where our mouth is. So on this call is my wife, Julie, who, is the top. She's ranked number 1 in EXP in sales in Michigan. Kathy's ranked number 3. Kathy Schomburger's ranked number 3 in Michigan. Nicole's in the top, I think 14 in Michigan. So what I'm trying to tell everyone is that these are amazing leaders. They're amazing agents, and they do a lot to support, everyone. They come from contribution, and that's important to remember. It's like we invited everyone here because it's contribution over competition. And so we wanted to open up and show you what we do and what our agents do to be successful in real estate. So without further ado, I want to first introduce Isaiah. Isaiah, welcome. Isaiah and I are partners. Isaiah is an amazing coach, mentor, and we met on one of our Modern Agent Blueprints about a year ago, and we've established just a fantastic relationship. Thanks for being on. Once again, Nicole, we've known you for, how many years? Well, I've known Nicole for like 10 years, but she's an amazing agent, rock star. And then Susan, who is, we haven't known Susan for that long, but you are an inspiration. Look, we love having you on our meetings and helping us and all that. So without further ado, well, Isaiah, you want to say a few words first?
Yeah, just to kind of open this up, I believe first and foremost, thanks for doing this, and being willing to kind of share what top producers are doing to set their business plan. I think it's one of the most important exercises, and most people make the mistake of doing this too late in the year. And the last seminar I did, I had like 300 agents there. And one of the things we talked about was your 2023 is already here. Like it's already 2023. And they kind of looked at me funny. They're like, what are you talking about? But I think we can all agree that what we do in the next 3 months, the systems we put in place, the objectives we put in place, the things we start taking action on, is going to determine what happens in the first quarter of 2023. It's just the way real estate goes. And so I'm super impressed, Lee, that you got an awesome group of people that understand that mindset and aren't going to wait until December to say, oh, maybe I better get my business plan together because January is right around the corner. But they're doing it now. And the way that our team works, and between the different companies that we own, we already have our business plan done, and we're already acting on it as if it's 2023 right now. So I'm excited to be part of this exercise.
Especially with the shift. I mean, a lot of agents on here probably have never experienced a shift, and they're like, oh, it's not a big deal, and it's never going to happen, and oh, the housing market's not going to slow down. Well, everyone just got slapped in the face about 3 weeks ago, and and really in 90% of the markets, everything came to pretty much a screeching halt. So it's a hard reality that people just need to learn how to adapt and change. And it's not fish in a barrel anymore. I mean, multiple offers, 30,000 over, that's fantasy land. And now we're in more of a normal market, and we need a plan. Everyone needs a plan.
Mm-hmm.
Nicole, you want to add anything before we start with Susan?
I wasn't sure if Susan would start. I mean, I just think that at this point we have to be planning into this next year. Right now, I know, like Isaiah was just saying, like whatever we're doing now is what's going to happen in the first quarter of 2023. So we just need to prep and get ready to go. If you haven't already, it's time. So I'll hand it over to Susan.
Right. Well, hey, thanks for having me, Lee and Julie. I'm excited to be back. I'm talking to your fabulous group. So as everyone knows, we're going to talk about your 2023 business strategy. I think I've got the ability to share my screen. I do. I'm actually going to go ahead and pop this up. This was what we put in the chat, but this is your 2023 business strategy. But before we get there, we're actually going to start with your 2022 business review. So there we go. Make that a little bit bigger for everyone. So who did a business plan for 2022? Put a yes in the chat, raise your hand. Let me see how many people actually did a 2022 business plan. All right, we've got some people. Yes, yes, yes. Awesome. All right, now who actually followed it the entire year? Right? Raise your hand if you followed your business strategy, right? I know. Nicole's like, yeah, right. And that's, so you guys have been doing this for about 19 years now. And what most of us do is, we set some goals. We're pretty decent, most of us, at setting some goals. But where we struggle is just the follow through, right? It's setting that plan to get, to achieve those goals. So today, what we're going to do is we're going to not only set some goals, help you set some goals, but then also give you multiple strategies to hit those goals. And here's the thing with the 2023 or whatever year we happen to be in business plan, it's not a set it and forget it. You need to be looking at your business plan every quarter. Actually, you need to be reviewing your business plan every quarter. You probably need to be, looking at it daily, right? But we forget, sometimes we go, oh, well, I did that, right? I set my business plan, I'm done, right? And it doesn't work like that. We have to consistently be reviewing it and revising it. So the first thing that we're going to do actually is we're going to do this 2022 business review, because we can't set our GPS for where we want to go if we don't know where we're at now, right? So before you do anything else with your business plan, I want you to think for a second, think about why you get up and go to work every day. What is that reason? Write it down, put it in the chat, shout it out if you want to, but why do you get up and get dressed and call those buyers, call those sellers, follow up on those leads? Why do you do that every single day? My why, right here. I got some pictures right here. This is my why. I get up and I do this job every single day for my family. It doesn't hurt that we've got 4 kids in college. So, but I want you to really think about that why. So before we get to our destination, we have to know why we want to go there. I'm going to make an analogy here really quick, right? If I go to the grocery store, which by the way, for me is like the worst place on the face of the earth. I despise the grocery store, but I have to know why I'm going. I have to go to the grocery store because I need milk or eggs or whatever I'm fixing for dinner. If I don't go, we're going to be hungry. Kids aren't going to be happy, right? We have to know why we're going. Otherwise, I'm going to get in my car and I'm going to go somewhere else, anywhere else in the entire world other than the grocery store. But it's the same thing with our business plan. Think about what you're working for and who you're working for. And take a second and just jot down whatever comes up for you around that. Now, I'm going to cover this next section fairly quickly so we can kind of get into the 2023 strategy part. But again, we have to look at where we're starting in our business. So I want you to answer this question. I will achieve my listing goal for 2022. Is that true or is that false? Shout it out, put it in the chat. Yes or no? Will you achieve your listing goal for 2022? All right, Teresa says yes. All right, Dana, true. All right, awesome job. Christina, you got it. Good job. Yes, yes, and yes. All right, I love it. So think about whether or not you're going to hit that goal for 2022 that you set. And I want you to think about what are the, oops, sorry, there goes my notes. What are the, how many properties did you list in 2022? How many sellers did you represent? Because if you guys have a big investor and they gave you 5 listings in the year, well, what if that investor goes a different direction, right? So we have to kind of think about that. So how many properties did you or will you list in 2022? How many sellers are you representing? What's your average list price in 2022? What was your average commission rate in 2022? And include that buyer fee, right? That co-op fee. What was your average commission rate? And think about, you know, if you kind of look back on your listings and you're like, gosh, my average commission rate was not where you wanted it to be, right? I'm not going to say a number if this is open to multiple companies, but you know, if your commission rate isn't where you wanted it to be, that might be something that might be a, you know, a bullet point that we need to think about for 2023.
The commission rate, what do you mean including co-op? Like the total, like when you take a listing, the
Yep.
total?
Yep, total
Or just
percent.
what we get?
Yeah, not just what you get, but what are you, when you're listing a property, when you go in and say, Mr. or Mrs. Seller, I'm going to
Yeah.
list your house for 5%, 6%, 7%, 10%, whatever that percent is.
Okay,
I want you to write down that number.
I see.
Good question. So think about what that total listing strategy was that you had for 2022. And then I want you to think about your closing goal. What was your closing goal for 2022? Will you hit it? Put it in the chat, shout it out. Will you hit your closing goal for 2022? Yes or no? And this isn't a, you know, like a shaming thing, right? Because there are so many times we set a goal and we don't hit it. That's okay. It's the acknowledgement of, yes, I did, or no, I didn't.
Overhit it.
You overhit it. All right. Good job. That's awesome. All right. And 1 million over, someone said, nope, not going to meet mine. Hey, that's all right. That's why we're doing this exercise, right? Good for you for saying, nope, I didn't hit it this year. But that's okay. That's why you're here, right? We're not going to let what we did or didn't do in 2022 affect our 2023. So how many closings will you have in 2022? We're not going to count any leases. How many actual closings are you going to have in 2022? I want you to write that number down. And again, how many buyers did you close over the course of the year? How many listings did you close? What was your average sales price of the homes that you closed? What was your average commission rate per side closed? So this is where we break it down into, this is what I got. So when we talk about closed sides, I want to know what was your part of that commission. So if you're listing properties at 6% and you're taking 2% or 3% or 4%, I want to know that. We want to break that down in this section. So what was your average commission rate per side closed? And then your average gross commission per closing. Those are the important things to look at in your business year to date. This is your GPS where you're starting, right? And the last question in this section right here is, I will reach my income goal for 2022. Will you reach your income goal? Yes or no? Shout it out, put it in the chat.
Yes.
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 All right.
Yes.
All right. Good job, everyone.
One thing that's tough to track is that average commission. I think that's something, what would you do? Just find your commission on all of your transactions and divide it by the number of transactions? That's not something I track.
Your commission per side closed?
Yeah, your commission rate, average commission rate.
So that's something I honestly, I would be tracking that throughout the year.
Yeah,
So because
I haven't done that.
Yeah, tied to your gross commission for the
Yeah.
entire year. So that's something I'd be tracking. So here's something I did when I managed a single office. I got to the end of the year, just like this, right? We're doing business planning. And I looked at the total commission for all of my agents for the year. And I said, what would they have made if they had charged a full commission on every single transaction, right? And that full commission, it's different in every market, right? Sometimes it's 3%, 3.5%, you know, whatever that market going rate is for commission. What would they have made if they had charged a full commission on every single transaction? And what I did is I gave them a fake check for the difference. And I said, this is how much money you left on the table this year, right? If you had charged a full commission, you would have made this much extra. And sometimes doing that exercise, it was an eye opener. I'll tell you, for some agents, right? There was one agent I had, and she worked for me for years. And well, the first time I gave her a fake check, I gave her a fake check, and it was for quite a bit of money, right? But every other year I did that exercise with her, I gave her a check for $0 because she was tracking her commission on every single transaction, and she made sure that she made a full commission. And if she had to do something to take a, smaller commission on a deal, she'd make it up, right? So look at that money that you left on the table, because that's a really, really good exercise to go through. All right, and then I want you to think about where your business came from in 2022 and ranking the sources of business. So how many of your closings came from your sphere? How many came from repeat clients or past clients, prospecting, open houses, internet leads, relocation or an REO lead, a sign call, a builder, farming? What are the different areas that gave you closings this year? There was a top agent that I sat down and did a business planning session with 4 or 5 years ago. And we started doing this exercise, and he held an open house almost every single Sunday and he'd done it for years and years and years. And it's just what he was taught to do as a newer agent. And we started ranking his sources of business. He closed 1 transaction from open houses, 1, but yet he was doing an open house every single Sunday. And when I asked him, like, why are you doing an open house every Sunday? He was like, that's what I was taught to do. That's just what we do. And so we eliminated those open houses, and we really focused. Most of his business came from his sphere, right? So we focused that time, that extra, time that he was using to prep for the open house and hold it and promote it and all those things. We put it into a sphere. So rank your sources of business. That's really important to say, okay, where am I starting from and where do I want to go? If you want to go deeper on this, you can look at the return on the investment that you're getting from each of these sources, right? So what was the return on the time that you invested? And here's an eye-opening experience that, a lot of us, have in this business, is if you're paying, whether it's paying upfront or paying referral fees for leads, you're like, well, but I got 5 closings or 7 closings from that lead source this year. But what did you pay in referral fees to that referral source? Is that short-sighted? Could you have put that time and effort and energy into something that you're not paying a referral fee or an upfront fee for? Does that make sense, everyone? Any questions on that, on ranking your sources of business?
I don't have a question, but I have a suggestion for people. I use a program called CTE. And if you do it, it's like $14 a month, and it's so worth it, because if you do it the right way and fill out everything, it will do these calculations for you if you put them in the right way. And it's really helpful because then you don't have to go and add it all up, right? It's already all there, so you can easily see, and there's like a million different tabs on the bottom, your financials, your business plan, and part of all that, putting it in, it asks you right away when you're putting in your business, under my business, where did you get this source of business? Is it past clients, whatever? And then you can see on another tab, it will say, this is how many this came from. This is how many this came from. Here was your average sales price. So you don't have to take time to, it's going to be very easy for me to go back and fill in this sheet because it's done for me. And it's nice because they do have a financial section. So I take that section to my accountant and then I just give it to her.
Love it. That's awesome. I wrote that down. Thank you, Jennifer. All right, so ranking your sources of business, really important exercise. Now, the last part of this on reviewing your business is a scale of 1 to 10. How satisfied are you with your results year to date? Put it in the chat, shout it out, right? How satisfied are you with what you've done in 2022? Is that a really satisfied? Is it a meh satisfied, right? Now, how many hours per week this year did you work on or in your business? All right, 80% satisfied. Sierra's satisfied. All right, really good. All right, so how many hours per week did you work on or in your business? I want you to be truthful about this, right? What do we normally do? 40. Of course I worked 40 hours a week, right? Did you work 40? Truly? Did you really? I want you to think about that. So how many hours did you a week did you work? How many hours a week did you work on prospecting activities? We got Craig drawing on our forum. This is awesome. Craig, you keep filling in your business plan for us.
So he's 0% satisfied, 0 out of 10.
Oh, 0. All right.
We need to talk offline. We need an intervention, Craig.
That's why we're here. No judgment, Lee.
Yeah.
No judgment.
This is judge-free zone.
This is a judgment-free zone. It's why we're all here, to work on 2023. All right, so how many hours a week did you work on prospecting? Again, be honest and be truthful. It does not do us any good to lie to ourselves, because we know it. We know it when we lie to ourselves. And then how many people do you have in your sphere? And this one I really want you to think about, right? Especially if most of your business is coming from your sphere, or even the opposite. If hardly any of your business is coming from your sphere, how many people do you have in your sphere of influence? Everyone knows what a sphere of influence is, right? I did a class the other day and we had talked for probably 20 minutes on sphere of influence. And someone said, what's a sphere of influence? I'm like, oh my gosh, let's tell you what a sphere of influence is. That's okay. Thank you for asking. So your sphere of influence is those people who already know and like and trust you. So how many people do you have in that list? Do you have them in a database? In a CRM, right? And then did you work your business plan in 2022? If you didn't, I want you to ask yourself why. We're going to put some things
For
in
Jen, it's naps, it looks like, so.
naps.
My naps. So I do what I do so I can nap.
Naps get in the way. That's
Think
awesome.
about it.
All right, awesome, you guys. Hey, thanks for all these chats. This is awesome. Or again, open your mic and shout out the answers, right? All right, so I'm going to skip through this next section pretty quickly, but if you're working on agent attraction in 2022, or if you did work on it, you want to ask yourself, are you currently attracting agents? How many frontline agents do you have? How many frontline qualifying agents do you have? And then how many total agents do you have? So again, we're setting our GPS. This is where we're starting. And then we're going to make our destination to where we're going. All right, you guys, we're finally at the 2023 business strategy. Are you ready? All right, so how many transactions will you close in 2023? Open your mic, shout out your answer, or you can put it in the chat, but I like interaction.
50.
All right, perfect. Nicole, 50 transactions. I love it. Who else?
I put 50 as well.
Okay.
Damn, rock stars.
And then someone said 100, right? Did I hear 100?
133 is what's on my business plan.
133. I love it, William.
By
And where
yourself?
are you getting these numbers? Are you getting them from your pipeline, or is it just what you want to shoot? Because
It's a goal. That's a
Okay.
goal, right?
I go.
Not necessarily in the pipeline then, right? Just what you want to do?
Mhm.
I
Okay.
think, Bill, you got people on your team. So is that you or your team?
Who, Bill?
Yeah.
Bill, 133.
Oh, 133. This is based on the business planning stuff we're already doing with Isaiah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So one thing, I want to open it up for conversation, but I think it's really important here when you're doing your transactions, and I see people make this mistake, especially if they're growing a team, is they don't set a personal production goal separate from the team goal. And what can happen when you do that, it can really mess up your finances, because you can bring on a team and you're paying for leads for them and all these different things to support them. And that, as you're trying to gain leverage by building that team, if you stop your personal production or don't keep that separate, it can really damage your budgets, your finances, and your profits. And so I just recommend that if you're thinking about growing a team, or if you are growing a team, or if you have a team, is to set a personal production goal and a team goal completely separate from each other.
That's an awesome point, Isaiah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you're running a team, one of the best books on doing that, their best programs on doing that. The book is called Traction and the program is called EOS, the Entrepreneur Operating System. Fantastic program to run and lead your team. And it's just what Isaiah said. So everyone on the team has a number. And that's actually one of the pillars of EOS is everyone has a number and everyone's rowing in the same direction. And everyone on the team has a responsibility. And it's not just, my responsibility is to close, five buyer sides if I'm a buyer's agent or 10 buyer sides. My responsibility is helping the team to achieve our buyer side goal or our GCI goal or whatever that might be. You guys ever want to go deeper into that? I'm happy to do it, but it's a fantastic system to run your team.
That'd be a great another program with this.
Yeah,
Love.
absolutely. Okay, so how many transactions will you close? And then how many of those will be listings? Now, if you guys are team leaders, you're going to maybe look at this a little bit different, right? So we're going to kind of break that down. Happy to do a different, segment for team leaders. But if you're an individual agent, how many of those will be listings? We really want to focus in on that, making sure that we're spending especially if you've been in business for 2 or more years, spending the majority of our time working with sellers. That means we're controlling the inventory, we're controlling our income. And then how much money or gross commission will you make in 2023? So those are our 3 main things that we want to look at in our business, right? Every agent, whether you're a team leader, an individual, or even a team member, every agent in business needs to have those 3 kind of, 3 things pretty clear in their mind. But then I want you to ask yourself, what are the 1 to 3 most important things you can accomplish in 2023? I see agents many times, they'll set, 5 goals. Well, I want to go on a really big vacation. And then I want to put, I've got my kids coming into college. I want to close 50 transactions. I also want to make the majority of those listings. I want to increase my, GCI. So they put all these big goals out there. And I want you to think about 1 to 3 things that are the most important for your business. And we want to be more laser focused on your business. You can have some other things that we're going to work toward for the year. But if you're a new agent, choose 1 goal to work on this year, maybe 2. If you've been in business a long time, you can choose 3 goals. But those are going to be, we're going to have more of a laser focus than like a flashlight, right? Does that make sense?
Hey, Susan, could you be like specific on what would be a good goal? Because I know that people are like, what would you say would be, someone that's like a 2-year agent? Like what in your opinion would be a great goal for them to accomplish?
It's going to be one of those 3 questions up there. So if I'm in business 2 years, I'm going to focus on the number of transactions, or I'm going to focus on increasing my listing count, or I'm going to focus on my GCI. I'm going to put my laser into one of those areas, and I'll have a couple others that I'll be working on, right? So if I want to have a total closings of 25 this year, that's my goal. And then I might have a secondary goal that 60% of those will be sellers and 40% buyers, right? So I can have a secondary goal, but it's most likely going to be one of those 3 things up there. That 4th question is really for especially team leaders or people who've been in business a long time. You might kind of have it down. Okay, I know I'm going to close this many transactions. I know, I'm a strong listing agent. That's fine. My GCI is strong, but maybe your most important thing is starting a team, or it might be, getting 2 additional team members, right? So it's not just about those 3 questions up there. It's also about, okay, looking at your business more holistically. Did that answer the question? Okay.
Yes.
I find my struggle is I'm too broad. Like my number 1 thing is consistency. But I guess I feel a little lost on, okay, well, I don't know what to focus on, I guess, to be more consistent, if that makes sense. And I'm sure I'm not the only one that struggles with this.
Yeah, I can
Just you.
Yeah.
What?
It's just you.
Yeah, right.
So Jennifer, I'm going to skip down to the very last page of this.
Hold on, Isaiah had a point he wanted to say.
Actually, she's just she's saying the same thing I was going to say, so I'm not going to sit. So
Awesome.
What?
I didn't hear what Isaiah said.
No, he said you're going right to exactly what he was going to recommend.
All right. So Jennifer, the very last page is a daily plan. Now this is a written plan. We can also make this, you know, more mobile friendly, right? But I wanted something to show you. When we talk about consistency, I'm really excited to talk about our schedule. And that doesn't mean what you're doing right now. When we talk about consistency, it's what would the ideal version of you, what would their day look like? How are they keeping their SMART goals in front of them? What are the most important things on their list? Keeping track of the progress that you make every day, working on a time breakdown. So I'm actually going to get to that when we talk about consistency. That's the last page that we'll go over. All right. Any other questions so far?
Well, we got a copy of all of this.
Yep, it's in the chat. And if we can
Sharice, can
that.
you post it again for us, please? Thank you.
Thank you.
Sierra, I'll email it to you. I have it right here.
I just reposted it again.
Thank
I
you.
know if you weren't in here when it was posted, you can't see it. So I just posted it again, and we're gonna link it with the video. I'll put it in the Modern Agent Blueprint as well.
Awesome, thank you.
Thank
One
you.
thing- Yeah, just one thing to add to that is I'd recommend that everybody, once you set your goal and you can break down your daily activities, where I find that in the mistake that I've made in the past is not really understanding what metrics I need to hit in order to actually achieve that transaction goal. So there's something called, if you want to write this down, there's something called leading indicators and lagging indicators. It's a fancy word for saying breaking down what metrics need to be achieved to actually hit the goal. That's your leading indicators. Your lagging indicator is the actual goal. What we tend to do is say, oh, cool, here's my goal. But we have no idea on what needs to actually happen in our day to achieve that goal. Does that resonate with anybody? So, for example, we have a, and Lee, if you want to do a part 2 of this, we can do
Yeah,
this.
absolutely. I think we need to.
If you want, but I have a spreadsheet that I walk through all of, with all of our agents and all of our inside sales agents and our sales reps, where we actually calculate based on your conversion rate, how many calls you need to make, how many conversations that you need to have, and leading all the way down to how many appointments you need to set, and how many contracts you'll take based on those appointments. So knowing your conversion rates is what's going to really help you hone in on whether you're calibrated the right way. I don't mean this in any sort of like silly way, but if you don't know those numbers, it's kind of like everything else we're doing here is putting a blindfold on, spinning around 3 times, and then throwing a dart at a dartboard. So I just recommend maybe we do a part 2. And if you guys want to know what your metrics actually need to look like to hit your goal.
Well,
I think
also,
what we
when you start to measure that, Isaiah, right, you get to be able to see where you can make the improvements. But also, the more you practice that, the more you do your leading indicators, then the better you get, and your ROA increases on that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Increase.
And if you're part of the Modern Agent Blueprint and with EXP, you guys have access to a call on Thursday that where what Bill's talking about, where we calibrate this in a very, very detailed way. So I'll hand it back to you, Susan.
No, that's awesome, Isaiah. I love that. I've told new agents, and every agent, but especially newer agents, keep track of your CACC, which is your contacts, appointments, contracts, and closings. Because if you're keeping track of that, none of us are good at all 4 of those, right? We all kind of suck somewhere along that line, right? So we have to figure out where we need to get better. And if we're tracking the CACC number, then we'll know where we need to focus our time and attention. So
What was
that's
that
awesome.
again?
I love it.
CACC stood for what?
CC, contacts, appointments,
Okay.
contracts written, and closings. So if we're making contacts, but we're not getting appointments, we're not saying the right things, right? If we're getting appointments, but we're not writing contracts, we're talking them out of writing an offer or taking the listing. If we're writing contracts and not getting them to closing, we're handing control to our client. We're not controlling how that situation, how that contract is written. we're handing the keys over to them.
Isaiah, are you talking about the 1 p.m. on Thursday meetings?
Yes, yep.
All those are fantastic.
All right, the last question on 2023 is, again, why are you going to the store? What are you going to do when you hit your 2023 goal, right? Why are you going to get in your car every single day and drive to the office, or get up and go into your office at home? Why are you going to follow up with those leads? What are you going to do? All right, then we talk about paths to get there, right? Again, most of us will set a goal without a path. The strategic planning form, if you've seen this before, actually raise your hand if you've seen this before. I see.
I
a few
love this
hands.
form.
Okay.
I
All
love
right.
this
I love
form.
this form too.
Yes.
One of my favorite forms ever. So the strategic planning form will give you multiple paths to hit your goal. Because if we don't have these, then what happens is life gets in the way. We put our business plan aside and we forget all about it. So we talk about, what's the 1 to 3 things that you're going to focus in on this year. So you're going to come up with your SMART goal. A SMART goal is specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and timely, right? Most of us have heard that when it comes to goals. Here's something I hear from a lot of agents. I'm not a goal person, Susan. I don't set goals, but I just close a lot of business, right? That means you're not driven by goals. It means you're driven by vision. But if you're a vision person, it means you're driven by the emotions that you're going to feel when you hit a certain point, when your life looks like what you want it to look like. If you're driven by vision, you're still a goal person. You just have to turn that vision into a measurable goal. If that makes any sense to you at all, right? So I'm a vision person. I'm not a person driven by goals. I'm going to close 50 transactions this year. That doesn't excite me. What excites me is taking my family on a vacation, or it's paying off something, or, that's what's exciting to me. Or that feeling I get at closing, handing the keys over to my client and knowing that they had the best transaction ever. That excites me. So what I have to do is take that excitement and say, how many times do I want to feel that this year? I want to feel that, so many times this year. I want to help so many people. So we have to take our vision, turn it into a SMART goal, which means I can measure it. It's a harder thing to do if you're driven by vision, but if you need help with that one-on-one, I'm happy to do that. So we're going to take our SMART goal and we're going to write it down. It means we can measure it. And that's, I'm going to close 50 transactions this year. That's by December 31st, 2023, that is a SMART goal, right? Everyone agree? Yep. Then the fun part. That's the strategy part. Those are the routes that you can take to hit your 50 transactions. So if I've got a goal, like, was it Jennifer, you've got a goal of 50, is that right? Did I remember that right? No, not you. Okay, who had a goal of 50?
I do.
Okay,
I
perfect.
do, Nicole.
Nicole, you got 50 transactions. So what are the strategies that you can use to hit that goal?
Oh God, you're calling on me. So strategies and prospecting.
Prospecting who?
Well, prospecting oh my gosh, I'm on the spot and I'm panicking now. Prospecting with maybe potentially FSBOs, expireds, where I'm doing a Z buyer program through Isaiah's coaching, farming, SOI. I'm big on SOI, big on social media, both of those. YouTube, I want to get going on YouTube. Where am I at? That's got to be like 6 or 5.
That's 7.
Yeah.
Good job, Nicole. Okay.
A
I'll
couple
stop you there,
more,
right?
like divorce attorneys, tax attorneys, so you need to add those into your, in your portfolio as well. Anybody that can refer you business that deals with consumers and homeowners.
Yes, exactly.
Are you
So
writing that down, like Nicole, with your 7? Are you writing in the strategy like focus on da 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 da?
I'm yeah, I just wrote all those down. Like after I just rattled them off, but now I'm going back and writing them all down. Yeah.
Yeah,
So-
that's what goes in the first section under strategy. Those are all your strategies to hit your goals, right? All the
Exactly.
different
That's your
ways.
brainstorming. These
Yeah,
are,
brainstorming.
I'm not
And-
going to let anything get in my way, because if those don't work out, I'm gonna go to expireds. If expireds don't, right? So we have to have this plan of, these are all of the ways that I can hit my 50 transactions. It doesn't mean we're gonna do all 10 or 15 or however many we come up with at one time. That's the last section of the form. But we're brainstorming all the different ways that we can get closings to hit our goal of 50.
And then before you move on, one of the things that Isaiah and I stress is that you still need, ultimately you need enough leads. If you don't have enough leads, you'll never hit your goal. So Isaiah, you want to expand on that a little bit?
Yeah, I think that going back to, if you know your conversion rate, so for the RHA team, our team leader, we've calibrated that we need 400 leads a month to come in to make sure each agent has 40 to 50 leads outside of their sphere for them to hit their individual goals, and for the team to hit its goal of 220 to 240 transactions. So we went through a process of calibrating that. And so I think that's what you're referring to, right? Lee?
Yep.
So, and we do that because we know what our conversion rate is on the type of leads that we work. So what's really nice is once you figure that out, you can really kind of hone in on making sure you're going to hit that goal, as long as you're consistent with your process.
Isaiah, what do you suggest someone does if they're 1 or 2 years in real estate? Let's say they've got a goal of however many closings, 25 closings, but they don't really have I've not really done a lot of expireds, Isaiah. I don't know what my conversion rate is. I've not really done many, whatever.
Yeah, that's a great question. Take the worst conversion rate possible, and just run your numbers from there. So usually, like, if let's say you're gonna invest in like internet leads, you can do the let's say you're gonna invest in 40 leads a month, and using ZBuyer for an example, you can get 30 to 40 leads per month coming in. And if you just did over the course of 12 to 14 months, did a 2% conversion rate on those leads, that would probably come out, let's just say 500. So if we do some math on that, take 2% of 500, and that's a number you would shoot for. And just go for a low conservative number, and then anything better that happens, it's like, let's celebrate. So, but I'll usually, like, a good agent will be somewhere between, on internet leads, will be somewhere between 2 to 3% conversion rate. A great agent will hover somewhere between 3 and 5% on internet leads. So if you kind of want to use those as benchmarks, you could use as benchmarks. I think it's also important to let the numbers play out, because there's a lot of factors that go into lead conversion. And I don't mean to get off track, Susan. So if I'm going too far off track, then let me know. But don't get too frustrated, because the fortune is in your follow-up. So if your conversion's like, oh my gosh, like I didn't convert one lead this month. If you're brand new, don't get too frustrated. Give yourself an opportunity. If you've never worked that type of lead before, even if you've been in business for 5 years and you're not used to working that type of lead, it's going to take you time to really figure out what your conversion is on the lead. So I think that whatever strategies you pick, make sure that you're willing to burn your ship on that strategy for at least 6 months to a year, and not back down on it, because you're going to have to learn how to dominate that specific niche. So I hope that's not too all over the place, but that's my quick answer.
Hey,
No, I
hey,
love that.
Isaiah, are you willing to, because I know that a lot of people here probably know they need to do internet leads and they know they need to do ZBuyer, but they don't know how to close them. Are you willing to let whoever that wants, like, get into a couple of your coaching things for free if we like. You mean maybe like you have that 5-part Z buyer thing, which I think is great because like when we implemented it, we got 4 listing appointments this week from all the courses.
Yeah, we
I know I
we
put
could
you on the
put-
spot just now.
yeah, let me no, look, anything that we can do to help, we would help. We run a lead conversion role prospecting and role play class 12 o'clock every day, and then we have specific to Z buyer. We run a 5-week session that rotates on converting leads for Z buyer. So Lee, let's talk about that. We can talk about a solution to.
Yeah, and then we could email, because when everyone registered for the event, I have everyone's email, so I'll just email everyone, and no obligation, no cost, just if you want a couple free sessions just to kind of see what it's all about and help you, because like I said in the beginning, collaboration over competition. I know there's a ton of agents here that are in our local market that aren't with our brokerage, and like I wanted them to all be successful. It's not, it's really all about, ultimate collaboration. But I know we got way off track, Susan. I'm sorry.
No, you're good. No, this is awesome. I love this. So, but I think Isaiah said something that is really important, and it's that your fortune is made in the follow-up, right? So the part of the strategy is, again, this is the brainstorming part. And it's saying, you know what, I can visit FSBOs, I can visit expireds, I can do all of these things, I can work on my sphere of influence, right? And it's putting them all, this is your big picture right here. And then from there, we funnel it down. This whole form is just a funnel following down into that, what we have to be doing every single day. So we've got about 7 minutes left. So I'm going to kind of at least finish this form here. So brainstorm all your strategies, right? These are your avenues to get there. Then we need to really look at what are some of the weaknesses and solutions. So what the weaknesses that could stand in our way of hitting that goal. And that could be something like, you know what, I've never visited a for sale by owner. I have no idea what to say. Well, that's kind of a roadblock, right? We have to figure out what to say. So our solution might be, you know what, let's get with Lee and Julie, or get with Susan, or get with Isaiah, or take a class on an EXP world, and to learning what to say to those FSBOs if I've never visited one. I don't know what my conversion rate is. So what? Just start visiting them, right? Your fortune's in the follow-up, just like Isaiah said, right? So don't get too stuck in on, well, I don't know exactly how many I have to visit. That's okay. Just start doing the activity. If you focus on the activity, the results will follow. I guarantee it. But too often we start focusing on the results. And if we don't see the results that we're expecting right away, we give up. Focus on the activity, especially if you're newer in business. So think about what are the weaknesses, and then what are the solutions. A fear might be, you know what, I don't think I want to door knock. I don't know. It's a strategy, but I've never really, door knocked on a door before. Well, okay, that's a fear, right? So how are we going to get past that fear? Can you do it with someone else? Can you, create a group? Oh, did someone have something to say?
Yeah, somebody asked the question if Zillow or ZBuyer leads are worth working or not. So Susan, if you don't mind, if I take 30 seconds to address that.
Absolutely.
My answer, which is probably not a popular answer, and I don't expect people to agree with it, but I'm just going to say it anyway, is that no lead generation company is worth it if you're not committed to mastering the follow-up and the scripts, the dialogues, and building out a good follow-up process around those leads. So that's my blanket answer. Sometimes in our industry, we're not told that. People don't tell us the truth because somebody's just trying to get us to buy something. And they're like, oh, these are the greatest leads in the world. And we get the leads and we're like, wait a second, I actually have to nurture these people and develop relationships with these people before they're ready to buy or sell from me. Or oh, I actually have to get automation set up to make sure I can keep in touch with them because I can't do one-to-one prospecting with 100 people every single week. And so all these realities hit. But if you're willing to follow a proven follow-up plan and commit to that and learn the scripts and dialogues, then I would say ZBuyer is dollar for dollar one of the best lead sources. I'm not gonna sit here and hate on Zillow. But what I don't like is when people put all their eggs in one basket with Zillow. Because diversified lead sources are important. So we could do a whole training on that question, but I better shut up because I'll just keep going. On that topic. So,
But what you said, Isaiah, is true for any type of prospecting, right? You said it's not going to work. It's not worth it if they're not going to consistently do what they need to be doing. And that same thing can be said for any single strategy that you use to grow your business, right? So we need to brainstorm all these different ways, but then when you commit, when you figure out what are the next action steps I need to take, that's your committing, and you're committing to working your plan at least for the quarter, right? Because we're going to review this every single quarter. This is something that, again, it's not a set it at the beginning of the year and then forget it until the end of, 2023. We have to constantly be revisiting it. But we're going to take our next action step. So once we figure out what are the strategies that I can use, now we're going to start grading them. So what's the number one strategy I can use? Maybe it's Z buyers, right? Maybe it's my sphere of influence and getting them into a CRM. Maybe it's grading my CRM. It could be getting better at open houses, right? So we're going to take those next action steps. We're going to set a due date. And this is where it's really important to say, when will I have this done by? Can I delegate it? If I can, who am I delegating it to? And then when it's done, I need you to check that box off, right? There are different neurochemicals that our brain creates when we set and achieve goals. So when we set small goals and we achieve them, we check the box. So, yep, this is done. I got my sphere of influence in my CRM and they're all graded. Perfect. It's done. I check the box and I write the date. We get a little dose of dopamine. And that little dose of dopamine makes us want to continue to set and achieve more smaller goals, right? More of those action steps that we've listed down. Okay, great. That one's done. So now I'm going to visit 10 FSBOs every single week. Great, that's done. So when we get that and we check the box, it's really important to actually fill this worksheet out, not just do it and set it aside, but fill it out. Because actually, when you're done with this, if you take this and you give it to someone else and you say, hey, Lee, Julie, Susan, mentor, sponsor, whoever, here is my strategy for me to hit my number one SMART goal in 2023. Will you hold me accountable? You're actually getting a dose of oxytocin when you do that. You're sharing your goals with someone you trust. And that, again, that makes you want to continue to go down this path and achieve more goals. By the way, you're looking for someone who will hold you accountable, not someone who will listen to your complaints, right? And Lee's like, I'll hold you accountable.
Yeah, we have an accountability call every morning at 8:45, and everyone's welcome. That doesn't matter what brokerage you're with. It's just really, personal goal, business goal, and then we'll hold you accountable. And the next day we say, hey, did you do your video? Did you exercise like you said you were? And and we do it every day.
Yep. That's perfect.
And sometimes we spiral off, but it's so valuable, all the information that you learn from other people. Lee loves when I derail his calls, but I'm telling you what.
We spiral off every time you show up.
That's right. But you know what? I've learned so much that I never would have if I didn't, ask the questions or say, well, wait, what do you mean about that? What are you doing? You know what I mean? We've learned, look how much we even learned about the state of Florida, listening to,
Terry, and yeah, it's been
Terry,
Bodie,
yeah. Like, that's so valuable.
That's awesome. I love that. I wish everyone had that. All right, it's right at 11.
Yeah, we've all learned so much that we're getting our Florida licenses.
Yeah.
Right.
All right, so Lee, I don't know the last, so there's 3 strategic planning forms in there for 3 SMART goals if you have 3 of them. So you can do that for every one of your goals. And then there's a bonus page and then a time, basically a daily plan page. So we didn't quite get to those today, Lee. I'll let you kind of figure out what you want to do with that.
Yeah, so maybe I'm thinking maybe we do part 2 next week. Is that whatever, if you put yes in the chat, if you would want to do that, and we just make sure everyone's schedule fits. Maybe we can do it on Tuesday instead of Well, I want to make sure Isaiah's available too. So
yeah.
we'll think,
Isaiah and Susan both need to be available.
yeah,
Stop my
so
screen
we can
share.
do that. But
Some people are
We-
doing Con Ed on Tuesday, so be careful with that day.
And Susan, aren't you starting your new, that new agent program
Yeah.
next week?
Kickstart starts Wednesday, from
Yeah.
12 to 1.
Oh, 12 to 1. Okay.
What is that about? I have some new agents.
Yep. So Kickstart is for new/newer agents in business. It starts next Wednesday, and it's from 12 to 1 p.m. Eastern every week through the end of December. So through December 28th. So Kickstart, the first 2 to 3 sessions, I really go over just getting a newer agent set up with EXP. So it's basics, right? It's can they check their, can they send email from their EXP address? Are their enterprise profiles set up? How do they get into the world? Why do they even want to go into the world, right? And then after that, we go through the basics of working with buyers, working with sellers, prospecting, business plans, goal setting, that kind of stuff.
Okay, so
So
the first round is more for anybody that's come on to EXP, and after that, it's more brand agnostic after that? Okay.
It's base. I'm going to tell you guys, it's basics, basics of selling real estate, basics of EXP, and then basics of selling real estate for new or newer agents and businesses who it's aimed for.
great.
Okay.
That would be
When
great
does
for
that
us
start?
mentors to pass down to our
Next week.
mentees.
It starts next Wednesday
Mhm.
and goes through the end of the year. And Lee and Julie have the information on it,
Mhm.
right? I sent that to you guys.
Yeah, I have it.
Yeah,
Mhm.
Yeah.
we'll put it in all the groups.
Fantastic.
So, and then starting next Thursday at noon Eastern time, Isaiah, Susan, and myself are going to be doing like an hour on EXP and like how to take advantage of your stock, how to earn referral income and all of that. So, and that's going to be a recurring thing every Thursday at noon Eastern time. And we're going to give a lot of good nuggets every week, and we're going to really help people, really help people that want to, build their business. And like, I'm going to go back to where we started with, with Kathy, Julie, and Nicole. Not only have they built a kick-ass business, but they've attracted people who are like, hey, I want to work with you because I see you being successful. And it's really changed. I know it's changed our lives because, now we can pick up and go to any of my daughter's soccer games, like fly across the country. And it's all just from, helping people be successful and making that extra referral income off the agents that, that want to work with us. And we do this kind of stuff that we're doing now. We collaborate like this every single day, from the accountability call in the morning to, our
Modern Agent
meetings with
Blueprint.
Isaiah, Modern Agent Blueprint. It's like nonstop. And it's, and this isn't like, I know there's a lot of non-EXP people on here, and this isn't like a sales pitch. This is just kind of our family. And this is what we do. So.
There's a question in the chat. Yvonne asked, where can we learn more about that? The Kickstart that you're doing? Do you have somewhere they can go to look at that or contact you directly?
Lee and Julie have the information. If I can find it quickly, I can put it in the chat.
And then we'll put it in the Modern Agent Blueprint as well. I think most of the people
That's
on
perfect.
here
Yeah,
are
let's do
in.
that.
Yeah.
That's gonna be faster than me trying to find it. So, yeah.
And then
So if
you
you're
want-
not if you're not in Modern Agent Blueprint, if you got this link from somebody else, just join Modern Agent Blueprint on Facebook. It's a private group. Fill out the information or we don't add you. We want to make sure it's really just for agents and people in the industry. We're not letting in randoms. We don't want people pitching in there. This is strictly for agents. So there's the group. Lee just posted it. Thank you. It looks like from the messages we had, it's pretty unanimous that we're going to have to do a
Part
second
two.
part of this.
Yep.
So this is great.
And I have everyone's email address that registered, so we'll make sure we send it out to everybody and they get notified, and we'll get that solidified, tonight by tonight, so everyone can fit it in their schedule for next week.
Our Modern Agent Blueprints are typically Tuesdays at 10 a.m. Eastern. Is it 10 a.m.? Am I wrong? I feel so disconnected.
It's noon.
I'm disoriented from this Las Vegas trip. And
Yeah, so we did this one, normally we're at noon and we did this one at 10 o'clock. So I don't know, do you guys like having it earlier, or do you like?
I like it earlier because I feel like it gets me pumped to go through the day. You know what I mean? But not on Tuesday because I've kind of admin.
I like it earlier.
You might just have to rewatch it, Jen. I don't know.
Oh no.
We'll figure it out. But thank you
maybe-
guys so much. This was really, really good, Susan and Isaiah. Thank you guys so much. This was really valuable. I've been getting messages nonstop about how good the content is today. So we really appreciate it. This is the kind of stuff we do all the time with our group too. So if you have any questions about anything, let us know.
Yeah, before we leave, I wanted to see if Isaiah, if you have any last words of wisdom.
Just congratulations to the success of the ladies that I saw in Detroit. I saw that post of the numbers there, just absolutely incredible. So just great work there.
Yeah, I'll explain. I wanted to explain that really quick, if you don't mind, Isaiah, really quick. So EXP came out with a like a leadership board, basically. So it shows you can toggle on there, you can mess with what state you're in, all these different things. It's for individual agents only. So out of the individual agents out of Michigan, the #1 top producer was Julie Moratis. So that's amazing. And like I said, Kathy Schomburger, who is on the call as well, she was our #3. I was number 14. And we had in the top 100 pretty much our whole team, because we're all individual agents. We're not a production team. So all of our names are on that list, and it's
Amanda was 6. Amanda's not on here, but Amanda
Amanda
was
number 6.
Yeah.
So
Amanda,
proud.
yeah, it's amazing. So go ahead. Sorry.
Well, where can we go to see that board? Do you know where?
It's in our it's like EXP leadership. We have it in our group chat, but we can.
Just text me
can
later.
Marguerite, what is it? Marguerite, you listening? She's the one that told me about it.
It's in your asset.
The website is leaderboard.exprealty.com, and you have to have your EXP email credentials to log in.
Leaderboard.exprealty.com for all.
And congratulations to all of you guys. Great job. You've worked hard for it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Sorry, Isaiah, did you have anything more? I cut you off on that. Sorry.
No, I think that let's do another call. If everyone's good with that, I feel like that if we get some more time to really digest what we learned here today, what we absorbed, get it all written down, you guys are probably gonna have a ton of questions. So I would ask if we do another call, though, you come back with questions. Is that fair to everybody?
Yeah, work on your printed out. I printed mine out while we were on the call. Started doing it, started working on it. If you guys have this in hand, it's going to help so much to go over any questions or anything you have. So take this week to really work on that, build that out.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Good idea.
I love it. Once
Awesome.
again, thank you, everybody. We really appreciate you taking time out of your day, and we will see you soon.
See you. Bye, everybody.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for the invite.
Oh, you're welcome. Thanks for showing up.